welcome. Today I have another ink sample review for you, and this one is by Stipula. It says it's called Sapphron. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, this is a really bright color. So far it looks like a very yellowy orange. Very sunny and bright color so far. Put a little bit extra down here. Let's put the name. All right. That's how it looks so far. I'm going to go ahead and put this under a fan to dry. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So let's try this out on some copy paper. I always like to test these inks out on some inexpensive paper because sometimes if you're at school or work and don't have access to your nicer paper, you just want to know how the ink is going to perform. So that's what this is for. That's how that looks so far. Kind of like a really light lemony orange color. We're going to let that dry and see how that looks. And this is some HP 32 paper. HP 32 is also a type of copy paper, but it's smoother and resists the ink a little bit, so sometimes if there's any special effects you'll be able to see it on this paper. And if there are any colors that you would like to see, leave a suggestion, and if I have the ink or if I can get it, then we can do a review video. Alright, here's how that looks so far. We'll set that aside to dry, and now we'll test this out on some Tomo River paper. And Tomo River paper is very smooth and also resists ink really well, so sometimes you can see a lot of nice special effects on this paper. So I always like to try it on here. And if you enjoy these videos or if they're helpful to you at all, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And it also really helps me out. Alright, there we go. Here's how that looks. I'm going to go ahead and check on our swatch and see if it's dry. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So here's how this looks on the copy paper. It's a really happy color, a very nice, bright, orangey kind of a color, like leaning more towards yellow. There is the tiniest bit of shading on here, but of course being copy paper, typically you don't see a lot of shading on this paper, so that makes sense. And then here it is on the HP 32, and first of all there's a ton of shading that you can see on here. It's very, very nice. And the color from here to here, you could tell it looks like a different color almost. This is a much bolder, more saturated orange yellow color compared to this, which is a little bit paler. So the color payoff on this is much, much better. And down here where I drew the lines, you can see how they start out a little bit lighter, and then at the end of the lines, they turn a little bit more orange from that shading. And then here it is on the Tomo River, and here you can see the breakout of the two colors, how it's a little bit lighter. You got this lovely halo shading going around, and then you also have this shading in the middle. And then on the writing, you can see the shading again. So this is a really pretty color, especially if you like shading and you want something more of like a happy orangey yellow color. Very, very pretty. And then here is the swatch we made. And you can see the beautiful shading around here on these ribbons and some of that halo shading. And down here where it gets a little bit darker and it looks a little more orange compared to this lighter, more of like a yellowy orange color. And then at the bottom in the writing, you could see all that really nice shading. So this is a really pretty color. I'll see if I can find a link for it and leave it down below for you. And thank you so much for watching. You have a great day.